It's time for Wallow and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Happy New Year, one and all. So nice to be with you on this day. It's, I guess, our last show of 2021, and we're looking forward to a nice little day off yesterday, traveling to Wichita to see if the U of M can right the ship once again. It was a yin-yang evening for Memphis sports fans. On one hand, you had the Tigers losing in another major setback. There's no way to paint this any other way. They lose to a net 215. You're trying to become an at-large team. A loss to a 215? And Georgia, by the way, is now in the 200s. Ole Miss is 128. I don't even know where Murray State is. Bottom line, unless Memphis makes up that game that they lost to Tennessee with a quad one, if Memphis were to beat Wichita State, that's another quad one win. Now you'd have 4 quad one wins. You might be able to make it up if you make a nice run. But it hurt last night. I'll make the excuse that he was without maybe his 3 best players. But it was a crazy ending, and we'll get into that in just a second. The good news is Ja owns the L.A. Lakers. Yes, sir. 41. That's the second time he scored 40 on the Lakers. Even LeBron James said, in essence, this was the term, if he's on, we can't do anything with him. This is LeBron talking about Ja. I mean, Ja probably made the All-Star team last night. To do what he did, he scored 16 points in a row at one time. 16 in a row, Jay Morgan.
It's unbelievable, really. But, I mean, and like, I think you're right. I didn't even consider that, but I think absolutely, even if he doesn't get voted in by the fans, someone's going to put Ja Morant, the players and coaches will put Ja Morant in the All-Star game. But LeBron James can't get any help. I mean, like you said, we talked about it yesterday. He's 37 years old today or tomorrow. Either way, he's about to turn 37 years old. He scored 30 points more than anybody in the league as one of the oldest players in the league and can't get any help on his team. It's remarkable.
We got an interesting show coming your way. Russell Copeland will join us on the National Football League at 10:25. Ron Higgins is scheduled to be with us. I just got a text from him that his wife is undergoing colonoscopy. He thought it would be done. It may not be, so we may not have Ron Higgins today. If that's the case, we haven't done this in a long, long time. At about 10:42, 10:45, somewhere in there, we will read texts. We will read or take on the AutoZone phone line and AutoZone text line. We will take your calls on these 3 topics that we're all going to talk about today. 1, the Tigers, what's gone wrong, what their chances are. Do you still feel any kind of confidence about them making the NCAA tournament? We'll talk about the Grizz and their success and how far ahead of time of the timeline they were originally supposed to be on. And here's the third thing, and we're going to get to this in a second, you and me. Since it's our last show of the year, and since the commercial appeal, which has consolidated 3 days of newspapers into one today, they're off until the Sunday paper. Wow, how times changed. We will pick our sports person of the year, and we'll let you guys weigh in on that. Again, that'll be about 10:42 to 10:45 on the AutoZone listener line or the AutoZone text line, provided our friend Ron Higgins does not join us. So here you go. The 3 probably best players on the team, at least potential-wise, right? Bates has not been the guy that we thought he would be. Hopefully he's learning from watching on the bench. He had a splint on his finger, so that kept him out of the game. Hopefully he's able to rejoin the team to play against Wichita State. Penny Hardaway, when talking about the 3 that we're missing, Williams, the best player on the team, on the floor, no doubt about it. Memphis is 22-9 since he became eligible. And those losses, some of them, 2 to Houston, could have been wins. I mean, he keeps you in a game. They are a different team with him. You would not get the straight line drives that Tulane got last night. I promise. If both those guys, Duran, Williams, and even Bates, who's a shot blocker, if they were in there, forget about it. That's not going to happen as easy. And that was a big part of the story. But Penny did say he hoped to get 2 of the 3 players. He did not specify which. 2 of the 3 players back for the game Saturday morning, 11 a.m. in Wichita, Kansas. Positives last night. How about Jaden Hardaway? Jay, we think he's on the team because he's the coach's son. He's really played nicely.
He's hard.
He's not a bad defensive player. He's an average rebounder. He's an average passer, I think. But he can shoot. He's really worked on his shot. He had 4 threes in a row. He had a career-high 14. He actually brought the Tigers back into the game in the second half. He was outstanding. Timberlake. Earl Timberlake, not the greatest shooter, but he's a scorer. He can rebound. He had 8 rebounds last night. He can defend when Memphis could not stop Jalen Cook, the transfer from LSU, who's clearly a good player. I mean, he is the best player on Tulane. I'm not sure they have that much talent beyond him, but he's one of the better players I think you're going to see in the American. That's how good the kid is. But when they put the bigger Timberlake who could keep up with him and has that NBA body, Cook struggled a bunch, was not the same player. It's good to have him back. And he did hit the one outside shot he took. He drove and scored a bunch inside. He had double figures. He was a positive. Here's the negatives. You can't win games when you turn the ball over 15 times. 21-9 points off turnovers. That's one difference. I've never seen this before. I may never see it again. Memphis out-rebounded Tulane 40-20. Memphis had 17 offensive rebounds and yet lost 42-32 points in the paint. Like, that's impossible. You can't do that. But they did. And why? Because their defense was awful. They allowed straight line drives. This was the number 1 defensive efficiency team in the country. They were still, like yesterday, top 35. I mean, not like the proficiency they showed last year, but not chopped liver, although they looked like chopped liver last night. They were terrible with their defense and allowed all those drives. Malcolm Dandridge, bless his heart, just keeps getting into foul trouble, so then he's got to be careful. And I don't know why Josh Minot didn't play more than 16 minutes, to be totally honest with you. In those 16 minutes, the kid had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. I wish he'd played more. I really do. But that's the reason that the Tigers lost. And even though they had a gutty comeback, the play was called. You don't have to like it, and I know Penny's going to take criticism for this, but he chose and said, I'm going with my senior. I'm going with my most experienced guy, especially since Williams isn't around, and I need a guy to bring the ball up. He went with the design play for Alo. And, the play worked, except for the finish. The play, he splits 2. He's got a big, wide lane to the hole. If he goes hard to the hole, even uses his offhand, I think he's got an easy layup. Or uses his right hand but goes to the rim and gets fouled, they'll call it. When you try a wraparound reverse layup out of control, you're not getting the call. I don't care if you got hit in the head, which is what Penny contended. You're not getting that call when you try a crazy shot. And that was a bad decision by Alo, and that was the end of the game. So you lose to a 215 net. That's tough. And this is just hard to believe with this team and all of the hype that we had at the beginning of the year. Memphis finishes the month of December 1-4. So, Jay Morgan, when were you born?
1994.
This is the worst month Memphis basketball has had since before you were born.
I can imagine so.
1981 was the last time a Memphis team had a worst month. They were 1-7 in February of 1981. Their only win in that particular stretch was against Penn State. 1-7 in 1981, the first year I arrived.
It seems like kind of the same old story, though, especially in terms of the turnovers. I'm looking at Ken Pomeroy stats right now, and for the season, we know the turnover percentage has been bad for the Tigers. They're 24.5%, which is 350th out of 358 teams, but their steal percentage, which is live ball turnovers, is still at 15%, which is 355th out of 358. So, I mean, it's a consistent issue that's going on now, and you got to fix it if you're going to win these games.
I agree, and you got to have your players.
Absolutely.
And you know, he did say on the pregame show with me, I asked him about COVID vaccinations, and he said, "Well, we know now, right? 11 guys were vaccinated, 6 were not when the game occurred in Nashville or didn't occur against Tennessee. Since that time, I can't remember. I don't think he gave us a number, but he said he has made progress toward that, and he's hoping." Because he wasn't going to give numbers, and I don't blame him after the debacle with 90%. But he said, I'm hoping by the end of the year we're at 100% vaccination. That's our goal. And we've had some movement toward that. So that doesn't tell me how many, but it tells me that there have been some that have gotten vaccinated since the debacle in Nashville. So that's where we are at. Oh, I forgot. Big news today. Do you know whose birthday it is today?
No idea. Oh, LeBron James.
No. I think LeBron. Oh, you think you may be right, though.
Yeah, I think
LeBron's 37 today, right?
I think so.
I think you're right. How about this? 2 possible GOATs are born on the same day then.
Who's the other one?
Double check this because
LeBron is born today. That's right. Who else is born today?
Who else would be considered in the sports world a GOAT?
Tiger Woods.
Bingo!
I called it.
Tiger Woods, I think, is 46 today.
That's right. He's 46 years old today.
Wow. How about that? LeBron and Tiger born on the same day?
New Year's baby.
Man, why couldn't I have been born on December 30th? I might have been a superstar at something. Holy smoke. That's amazing that LeBron and Tiger share the same birth date?
Something else. December
30th. Wow, that is pretty darn impressive. And LeBron, you know, he was terrific again last night. But I got to go over the Ja. Let me call him the all-star Ja, because I think last night seals the deal for him.
Agreed.
He's 13 of 27. Okay, that's not overwhelming. But what's his Achilles? What can he not do well?
I tell you, not last night, but shoot threes is the answer.
Bingo! And what does he do last night?
6 of 7.
6 of 7. From the line, 9 of 12. That's better for him because he's not a great free throw shooter. And he's really got to improve in that area because the ball's going to be in his hands at the end of games. And the great ones all make free throws at about 90%, especially when the game is on the line. So he was outstanding in that regard last night. He had 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. At one time, as I mentioned, he scored 16 points in a row. That is what an all-star does. You knock off a team that's still trying to be. I mean, they're the defending champs, and they've had a tough year and a tough start, no doubt. But you got to take care of that. You've got to surpass them and say we're the new kids around, and they are doing that for sure. And I think last night, their defense was outstanding, too. They held the Lakers to 16 in the fourth, forced 18 turnovers, got 21 points off those turnovers. That is amazing.
It was incredible, and I think more so, and I'm not sure it's a tangible skill, but I think scoring late in games is an absolute skill. Like, be able to make those big shots, and even there's a ton of good players out there. A lot of them can't do that. And Ja Morant, that's an absolute skill that he possesses. It's an incredible talent.
Now, you got a Boston Bruins hat on today.
I do. Hockey's back.
Oh, that's good. I'm really happy about that. I'm a little upset, just like several of the players are, that they pulled the plug on the Olympics. And they did that because they took the week off and they just sacrificed the Olympics. I'm not sure that is the right thing to do, but I'm glad that it's back because I think it's an underappreciated sport in America. I happen. If you go to the stadium, you see the beauty of hockey. There's no question about it. But I asked you that because are you a Celtics fan as well as a Bruins fan?
No, I wouldn't say I'm a Bruins fan either. It just kind of went with the wardrobe today, and like I said, Dave, hockey's back.
Went with the wardrobe?
Yeah, it's like a costume.
Whew. If you're watching on Zoom, folks, that is what he considers wardrobe. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I can't believe this is the NBA because you brag about how good they are. We just mentioned 6 of 7 from 3-point range.
Unbelievable.
Did you see what the Boston Celtics did yesterday when they scored 82 points in an NBA game?
Oh, that's like the third game in like the 80s or 90s in the last 2 days.
Did
I don't
you
know what's
see
going
what
on.
they shot from 3-point range?
It couldn't be good.
You won't believe this. This is the pros. These are the NBA superstars. These guys are great, or whatever the heck their slogan is.
These guys are good.
These guys are good. They weren't good in Boston. 4 of 42 from 3-point range.
Can't stop shooting, though. Can't stop shooting.
That's under 10%.
You got to keep them firing, though. Shoot
4
or shoot.
of 42, I would say no. I would say
Stop.
Go inside. Get fouled. Go to the free throw line. You can't hit threes tonight. It's not your night. 4 of 42.
There was another game in the 80s yesterday. The Pistons scored 85. The Knicks beat them 94-85. But if you go through the box score and look at the plus-minus, all of the starters were minus 20 or worse, and all of the bench players were plus 25 or better for the Knicks.
Wow.
It was one of the most incredible stat lines I've ever seen.
That's
so
crazy.
Every starter was minus. Every bench player was plus.
It's Tom Thibodeau's the coach, right?
He is.
He ought to bench his starters.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. All right. The commercial appeal picked as their sports person of the year, a very, very worthy candidate. I love her. I think she's just a cool person if you read about her. And that's Rachel Heck, who, of course, is from Memphis.
National champion.
Now she is at Stanford. And as a freshman, I think only the third person in history ever to pull this off. She won the Pac-12 conference tournament. She won the Western Regional NCAA tournament, and she won the NCAA National Championship. That's called a triple. Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Right? She did that. On top of that, she won the Annika, which is the equivalent for golf, to the Heisman Trophy for women's golf. So she got that. She's the best women's golfer in college golf. And then she did something over 25 rounds that no one else has ever done. She's got the lowest scoring average in the history of college golf.
Men's or women's?
I'm not sure.
But definitely women.
It's definitely women, but it was worded college golf, so it could very well be both men and women. I didn't have time to check that. But it's under 70. Can you believe that? So she had a 69.76 scoring average for 25 rounds. Lowest ever. And that got her, rightfully so, the commercial appeal, sports person of the year. I'm going to go in a little different direction. So I've got her as one candidate. As long as we're in golf, I'm going to throw out Doug Barron, who, again, had another really good, his second year on the senior tour, and he had another good year, and I'm really happy for Dougie. My third candidate is Calvin Austin, the walk-on turn 1,000-yard receiver for a couple of years, who has made himself a Senior Bowl invitee, and I think with the right system will be an NFL player. He's going to get drafted, I'm pretty sure. So thrilled for Calvin. So he's my third candidate. My fourth candidate is Kyle Murphy, the 901 FC forward that broke all the scoring records for the 901 FC, and that broke all the club records for Memphis as a franchise in history and got them to the playoffs for the first time. Albeit now it's their third season. It's not like it's a storied history, but nonetheless, that's pretty dynamic. And then my final candidate, and I'll let you know my winner, is Zach Kleiman. The Grizzlies president and general manager has put together a team that was supposed to be basically in the second year of a rebuild, where you're accumulating first-round draft choices, you're building around Ja and Jaren, you're hoping to be a play-in team, and here you are now, 8 games over 500, comfortably in the 4th position. I can't imagine not making the playoffs outright, not this play-in stuff, making the playoffs, and heck, who knows? I think they're pretty solid at 4. I really do. I'm not saying they're going to catch the Warriors or the Suns or the Jazz, but I'm saying I don't think the Clippers or anybody else, the Lakers, are going to catch them. I think they got a really good – unless something crazy happens, COVID, an injury that costs Ja or Jaren or Dylan Brooks, any of that real core, Steven Adams – unless there's an injury that costs them their whole year. I don't see them not getting in. So this is so far above the timeline they were supposed to be in. They didn't need a 3-year rebuild. It's been a pretty amazing thing. Zach Kleiman is the architect of it all. And you could make the case for Taylor Jenkins here, too, if you wanted to, because he's the one implementing the guys. But I'm talking about the supplier. The guy who's brought this depth, that identified guys like Dylan Brooks, that identified John Conchar. Who the heck thought John Conchar would be this good in this role? That just kept getting Jones. Everybody he's brought in to be a complimentary player has been more than a complimentary player. And I think it goes to the guy who's bringing in the groceries. And that is Zach Kleiman. He would be my sports person of the year. Yours?
So that's your winner.
That's my winner.
That's your winner.
Yeah.
Well, I only have 2 candidates. And one of them, you were mentioning Taylor Jenkins. Mine is actually Taylor Jenkins because not to diminish anything that Zach Kleiman has done at all. I agree with what you're saying. I think he's done a great job as the GM of the team. But I do think if you look around the league versus other teams, the Grizzlies are undermanned a little bit. It's just a product of being in this market. That's the way it goes. And I think Taylor Jenkins has more than outdone himself, especially with Ja Morant being out so much for this season and into last season too. So Taylor Jenkins is my first nominee. But my winner, Dave, is Mondo Duplantis, who is a pole vaulter from Sweden. He went to LSU. He set 2 world records this year and won gold in the Tokyo Olympics. He didn't even come close to his world records in that. That's how much better he is than the rest of the world. So Mondo Duplantis is my sports person of the year.
Well, time out. I hate to tell you this. You did not listen carefully. Local sports person of the year.
Well, it's the Olympics, Dave. It's the big Olympics. Yeah, it was Olympic year. But I'll give it to Taylor Jenkins then.
There you go. I was really going to be interested in how you were going to get Mondo Duplantis in Memphis or even in the region. I would have accepted if he was in Oxford. I might have accepted Fayetteville. I might have accepted Knoxville. But I'm not going Sweden on you.
Well, Baton Rouge, you went to LSU, and we're talking to Ron Higgins later, too.
It's too far. Wow. So Taylor Jenkins is your guy. So we're along the same thought process here. This portion of our show is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team, and I mean what a great team they are. And you get great value without sacrificing any kind of service when you talk to the Eflin Insurance Team. You talk to Matt or any of his pros, and there's great guys. There's Brett, there's Andrew, there's Heath. They're all standing by at this easy number. It's the Tiger number. Remember, GUR is in it, and that is 901-386-4777. They're in with the GUR because they love the Tigers. They really do. But they love sitting down and chatting with you. That's the truth. And they get to know you. That's the way the Eflin insurance system works. They get to know you. They find out what your needs are. And then they match that with what your budget is, and you get the perfect fit. I'm not kidding. And they do that with home insurance. They do that with auto insurance. They do that with life insurance. And they are real specialists for small to mid-sized businesses. So if you need commercial insurance, hey, they're ready to help you out. Again, that number, because they're Tiger fans, 901-386-GUR. That's 4777. Go see the Eflin Insurance Team or call them today. And this portion of the show brought to you by Old Dominick and that wonderful distillery right in the heart of downtown Memphis. There's a couple of things I got to tell you about. One, their products are great, and you can buy it at all the local spirit shops, like my favorite, the one at 4848 Poplar Avenue, the Spirit Shop, that little log cabin. But they've got their Old Dominick products there. But go downtown, and you can go to the bar, and they've got this really cool, elegant but not stuffy bar. It's a really cool atmosphere. And then you can try any of the wonderful products, maybe an old-fashioned, however you like. The Old Dominick mixologists are there, and they're waiting on you. It's a nice experience, but the best thing, I think, is the tour. So take the tour, you learn the history, and you get a nice sampling at the end of the 45-minute journey. You'll love Old Dominick, our hometown distillery, and they remind you in this holiday season, share a sip responsibly. Back in just a minute, we'll talk NFL with Russell Copeland. He's next on Wallow and Friends.
Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane bring you Sports 56 Grind Time. Brought to you by Poultry Power. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
I was getting my coffee today, Jose, and I heard there's a new way to get our jobs done at a price we want to pay for them. Grow profits and find new workers.
Sure, boss.
I downloaded the ZipCat construction app, Jose. Used the work icon, created the job description, and priced it.
Yes, boss.
Another contractor will buy it, and we got 3 days to accept and mutually approve the job, Jose.
Sure thing.
New concept. No more estimates. We control our price with ZipCat. Contractors, plumbers, electricians, etc. Find jobs listed with ZipCat. That's ZIPCAT. Download the ZipCat app now for free on the App Store and Google Play. ZipCat app, the best tool in your toolbox.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back into the Family Leisure Studios, and don't forget, it's the after Christmas time where you might find a lot of bargains. Right there at I-40 and Wooden Road, arcades, ask about those because they were 25% off before Christmas. Lord knows what you can get them for now. Air hockey and foosball tables, the pool tables, the shuffleboard tables, the great deals on hot tub and saunas. They always seem to get a little bit cheaper right after the holiday. Go check it out. Go see Billy. Go see Lindsay. Tell them we sent you. Family Leisure, where family and fun all come together. We love talking NFL football with our friend Russell Copeland. Happy New Year to you, Russell. What has been maybe your favorite moment this NFL football season? If you were to pick one, because we're at the end of the year, we kind of reflect.
Well, I mean, I just think this year has been, Dave, a different year. It's been up and down. I think when you look at it, teams that have been at the bottom, especially when you look at teams in the AFC West, I think it has changed. I think when you look at teams that were supposed to be the favorite, I think things have changed in that perplexion. I just think overall it has been a very great football year. It's been very competitive. For me, that has been the biggest moment overall, not just one single incident, but the biggest moment overall. You've seen the emergence of young stars. You've seen teams such as the Dallas Cowboys, America's favorite team, that have not played up to those expectations the past 10 or 15 years. Now they're looking great. Just something to get ready for the playoffs. I don't think there's any team that you can say, oh, I think this team right here is above all others, and I think they'll be the Super Bowl champion. I just think the parity this year for me, overall in the National Football League.
I love it. That's why we have you on. That's spot on. I agree. I mean, you never know. And just look at this. If you look at this moment, and most likely these will be the teams, the top 4 seeds in the NFC, I dare you to tell me with total assurance that you're certain who's going to get to the Super Bowl out of Dallas, Green Bay, which is the one team with the bye, the Bucks, and the Rams. Come on. You can't and heck, throw in Arizona, which is struggling a little bit, but was playing so good early on. I mean, you can't pick who's going to be the Super Bowl rep for the NFC.
And the same thing goes for the AFC, Dave. When you look at the Chiefs, you look at the Titans, you look at the Bengals, and you look at the Bills. And right under the Bills is the Colts. That's why, Dave, I think, football, to me, I love it. And it's getting to its apex professionally and collegially. And just switching up a little bit collegially, the playoffs, they start tomorrow. And just looking at the games this weekend, the top 7 seeds in both division games this weekend will have major playoff implications with just 2 weeks left in the regular season. And I'm just looking forward to it because every game in the top 7 will have major implications. If you look at the Chiefs, they're playing the Bengals.
I know.
The Bengals are sitting at number 3. And you look at a team such as the Bengals, and I said it earlier on some shows, I think the Cincinnati Bengals, Dave, looking at a basketball term, I think they have the best starting 5 skill position with a great 6-man coming off the bench. And the reason why I say that, you look at Joe Burrow, you look at Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, who's probably going to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and they have an outstanding tight end, C.J. Uzomah, and now they're going against the Kansas City Chiefs. Can this young Cincinnati Bengals team be consistent and be able to now put it all on the table? Because this is a playoff type of football game this weekend against the Chiefs.
And that game is in Cincy, and yet the Chiefs are the 5-point favorite. The thing I like the Bengals, too, is their physicality. I mean, they will match you punch for punch.
Yes, definitely. They can run the football when you look at Joe Mixon. And I like Joe Burrow. When you look at him, seeing him at LSU, I didn't see this type of personality, this type of boom, this type of gusto. But when you look at him, he plays the game at a different level. He's out there, man. He's competitive. He runs around. He talks to his players. This Cincinnati football team is very exciting. So I'm looking forward to that game. Yes, the Chiefs are a couple points favored. I think it's because they've won, about 7 or 8 straight, somewhere in there. I think that's why they're the favorite. And we're talking about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, what they've been able to do over the past 3 years.
Well, that is going to be a great game. Another game of interest to me is the Colts, because they're trying to hold on to their seed. They're playing a Raiders team, but the Colts have a real question at quarterback. Carson Wentz may or may not be able to go. He's in protocol. They actually called Phillip Rivers to see if he would, at 40 years of age, he's on vacation with his family. And Frank Reich, who obviously has a great relationship with him, played for him, he calls him up to see if there's any interest in him coming back. That's pretty desperate. And apparently Phillip's not interested. So Sam Ellinger could start that game, and you're up against a Raiders team that will, be playing for John Madden, let's just say. I think it's an interesting story. What do you think happens here?
It definitely will be. And I think it starts with Carson Wentz because now the NFL has a new protocol, and I think it's about 5 days. If you're asymptomatic, you can return back to play within those 5 days. Or if your symptoms are not as strong as they were before, you can resume playing. I think it comes down to that. But even if Sam Ellinger is playing, I think that he can bring something that Carson Wentz does not bring all the time, and he can get outside the pocket. He can scramble, and things do not have to be relied on him because they have the best running back in football who is right there as an MVP candidate in Jonathan Taylor. So I think they still will be okay. They have a great defense. And when you look at the Raiders are playing spoiler. They're still trying to get into the playoffs as well. And I tip my hat to the Raiders with everything that has went on with this organization. And they were playing so well early, losing John Gruden to the things that he did off the field, losing Ruggs and losing their other first-round draft pick last year because of off-the-field incidents. For them to be right there, I have to take my hat off. But I like the Colts. I think the Colts are playing the best football next to the Kansas City Chiefs and Green Bay Packers in the NFL.
Then there's the story of the Cardinals going the other way, and the Cowboys, what they did to Washington. They should be jailed for murder the way they killed him, honestly.
Yes.
That, to me, is an intriguing game because the Cardinals have lost their mojo. They're trying to regain momentum for the playoffs, and I think there is something to that momentum down the stretch. and maybe the Cowboys have that momentum. What happens in that game? The Cowboys at home, 5.5-point favorites over the Cardinals.
Well, I tell you what, Dave, the Cowboys, they are back. When you look at this football team, Dan Quinn is the MVP of that team. How he has turned around that defense. They're playing on all cylinders. They're rushing the passer. Michael Parsons is definitely probably the rookie of the year, maybe the defensive player of the year. You've got two players on that defense that's in the top 5 in their positions when you look at Trevon Diggs and Michael Parsons. Offensive line is coming. And I said it last week, Dave. I said, this is the football game against the Washington football team that this offense will get it together. Not only did the offense get it together, they played great football in all 3 phases. But with all that being said, you look at the Arizona Cardinals. Their back is against the wall pretty much like the Dallas Cowboys offense has pretty much been back against the wall. I think they will come out. I think they will come out. I think they will play. I think they'll be competitive despite they've lost 3 out of the last 4. And I think they win this football game because of Kyler Murray. That's your MVP that you said about a month ago.
Wow.
About a month ago, you said Kyler Murray was your MVP, and then he was hurt then.
Yeah.
He's been hurt. It's been hard for them to get back in their rhythm. But I think when you have a quarterback that can run and also pass, get outside the pocket, I think he can neutralize that defense. And I think he still has the weapons to be able to score points. I'm going to go on a limb. And listen, America, I love what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. I think the Dallas Cowboys will get into the playoffs, and I think they'll be a hard out. But this particular game, I think this is a must-win for the Arizona Cardinals.
Man, you're going out on the limb. You always do, and you're usually pretty on the money. All right, last thing, and I want to wish you and your family a very happy New Year. We talk more than just the NFL. We talk Tiger College football, but I got to get your take. Cincinnati and Alabama, Georgia, and Michigan. I don't know how much studying you've done, but what's your gut feel on who wins those semifinals?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, you got to love what Cincinnati has been able to do. I think they have the athletes to be able to compete with Alabama. I think the biggest thing for Cincinnati is the moment. The first quarter will determine if they feel like they can play with Alabama. I think they'll be competitive, Dave, I think for 3 quarters. But I think overall, Alabama has more athletes. They've been here before, and I think they'll up and win this game. But I think that Cincinnati has everything that can be able to compete with a team like Alabama. As far as Georgia and Michigan, get your chin straps on, buckle them up, because it's a black and blue game. It's going to be a very physical game. You've got the number 1 running offense against the number 1 or number 2 defense, as far as Michigan going against Georgia.
Right.
I like Georgia. But I think Michigan has everything that they can do to upset the Georgia. And I think it's going to come down to the quarterbacks for Georgia. When you look at Bennett and you look at Daniels, whichever one of them plays, if both of them plays, I think that Michigan can compete with them. And take a look at this guy. Take a look at Hutchinson, the defensive end for Michigan. He disrupts the game like T.J. Watt, like J.J. Watt, like the Bosa brothers, like Myles Garrett, any of those great defensive ends, he can disrupt the game. And if he can come and disrupt the game, especially when they have to pass, Michigan has a good chance. But I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be one of those games, man, that it's just going to be like Madden says, boom! It's going to be one of those type of games. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. You said that perfectly. We love that. I'm holding off on the Michigan-Georgia game. My gut feel is if they're both there healthy, everybody can play, Georgia gets the slight nod. I think Michigan is physical enough to play with them, like you just said. But we don't know how many guys from Georgia are still in protocol. And so we're going to have to wait to see how that one turns out. As always, we appreciate it. We'll talk NFL next week, and we'll go over what happened over the weekend. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Happy New Year to your family, babe.
You too. Russell Copeland on the NFL, brought to you by the good folks at Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Go to KenGarland.com, please. I want you to see what Ken and his dad before him, a couple of generations of incredible home builders, what they have done around our community. I mean 50 years worth of making older homes, modern palaces. We call that renovation with innovation. Or taking people's property, might be in their family for years, figuring out exactly how to utilize it and building that dream home that you've been thinking about. And if you've got that kind of land, or maybe you're looking for some land, Ken's got all the answers for you. He's one of those rare guys. He's little details, big picture, all at the same time. So if you're ready to make your move, that renovation or that dream home, please call my guy. That's 751-1632. Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. We will travel to Baton Rouge. We'll see if Ron Higgins is around. If not, we'll take your calls on the AutoZone listener line or the AutoZone text line and find out what you're thinking about the Tigers, the Grizz, and the sports person of the year. Back in a moment on Wallow and Friends.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Whether it's Miramichi, Cherokee, Galloway, or any of the numerous courses around town, you'll find me, Sheldon Rosengarten, with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, stinking up the course, because I've been known as the worst golfer in town. But along with that tag, people often say that when it comes to selling homes, when you want the job done, call Sheldon. Yes, I spend most of my time making sure my clients get the absolute best and most successful strategic marketing program. Darn it, I hate hitting triple bogeys, but I'd rather be making my clients more for their homes quicker. And who else is going to tell you that if you're thinking of selling, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure that Sheldon is one of them. Remember this, write it down. You can reach me, Sheldon Rosengarten, at MemphisRelocate.com or 4830546. That's MemphisRelocate.com or 4830546. Do it now.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear you're making everybody holiday happy over at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
That's right, Randy. We're closing the year with the Gossett Kia Command the Season sales event.
Not to mention, every Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
Plus, right now, I've got 2022 Kia Forte 179, only $27.99 due at signing. Or get a 2022 Kia Sportage LX $199 per month, or 2022 Kia Sorento $279 a month. Both $34.99 $27.99 due at signing and all 36-month leases. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, and let's not forget Lewisburg, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sorrento, NGO 92178, MSRP $30,875. Sportage in 7017 MSRP 25815. Forte 8429506, MSRP 21035. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10321. Dealer stock only.
You need to shop Kohl's right now. I mean, they have so many deals. I got 60% off holiday decor, so I'm set for next year. Fleece for under $20 and 60% off bedding. Even better, I used the Kohl's cash I earned from my holiday shopping and got it all in less than an hour with free store pickup. Who's ready to ring in the savings? Select styles. Ends December 31st. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Hi, everybody. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. That means you can place all your bets on a trustworthy app that's also easy to use. Basketball fans celebrate the NBA's 75th anniversary season on FanDuel Sportsbook as well. Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back. Already have FanDuel Sportsbook? FanDuel is hooking all customers up with $50 when you refer a friend. Plus, your friend will get $50 as well. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code GASMAN to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more this NBA season. You must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We are closing out 2021. We're off tomorrow. We wish all of you, all of our listeners, all of our sponsors that we love, the best of 2022. Healthy year coming your way. South Carolina has just scored. They beat, they're leading North Carolina. 5 minutes gone in the game, 7-0. Well, the SEC needs a win. They're 0-4.
They're going to get 2 today, Dave. The Vols and South Carolina.
Well, they could both of them are favored, so that could very easily happen. We do not have Ron Higgins. We wish Paige the best of luck on her colonoscopy, but we would love to chat with you. So, really simple. 2 or 3 things. One, and the Tigers. And I know I'm going to give every one of you folks on the AutoZone listener line a chance. 360-8255, 901-360-8255. I don't take a lot of calls on this show. Normally I have guests. I love to hear what they have to say. We hope we make it interesting and informative for you. But every once in a while, we'll open up the phone lines. You can vent. You can say whatever you want. And this one's really simple. Do you think Memphis will rally enough and make the NCAA tournament? And if so, can they still make it as an at-large team? A lot of things have to go right. They got to get some. They got to start on Saturday with a quad 1 opportunity there. So have you lost faith in this Tiger program at this very moment? Here we are, not even out of December, and we're talking about the tournament that you've got to win your conference tournament to make it. Nobody would have seen that coming. So I'd love your thoughts on that. Again, on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. Who would be your sports person of the year? I had Zach Kleiman, and I had some pretty good candidates, I think, when you think about Doug Barron, Rachel Heck. You think about Kyle Murphy, the scorer for the 901 FC, and Calvin Austin, and what a year he had. Who would be yours? Mine was Zach Kleiman's, and Taylor Jenkins was the local sports person of the year for Jay Morgan. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by James Davis Menswear in the Laurelwood Shopping Center, the only place that you can get the Stant system. Oh, yeah. What's the Stant system, you say? Well, I'll make it very simple. You go in. For a shirt, you take 3 measurements. For pant, you take 2 measurements. And out 2 weeks later, after you've done this, comes the perfect fitting clothes. It used to be take like 20 measurements for a custom fit shirt or pair of pants. Not anymore. Not with the stance system. It's an algorithm with computers. I don't understand how it works, but it works. And so if you would really like to look sharp, and it's not that expensive, the only place to get the stance system is to go see my friends at James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. They got all the winter fashions that are in. Soon it'll be spring. Believe it or not, that's how quickly we go. They've really got it going, as always, at James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. So I had a couple of texts, mainly the AutoZone text line filled with people on the Grizzlies.
Well, we're looking for positive things today, Dave.
Apparently
the
so.
The Tigers might just be too negative today.
Apparently so. Well, I think on Greg and Eli they were a little bit more vocal, but you're right. The majority of the text line, the AutoZone text line at 901-360-8255 is all about the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies are one of the best teams in the league, only getting better. Warriors and Suns better look the hell out, says one of our AutoZone texters. All the bandwagon fakers left the game swiftly after John Morant and company went to work. That was pretty impressive. And another texter says FedEx was insane last night. And that's nice. You know, the best crowd that I've seen in a number of years, and I haven't been to that many Grizzlies games, and I hope to make more, COVID provided. But the best crowd I've seen, the loudest crowd I've seen in years, honestly, was the Memphis game, the Tigers game against Alabama. I have no idea if that was what the atmosphere was like at FedEx Forum last night. You know, part of the thing is, to this day, it's always been amazing to me, but Grizzlies fans sometimes get outnumbered at home by Lakers fans.
Yeah, I think last night was probably one of those nights, too.
You think it was?
I do. But, I mean, the Grizzlies fans are loud and proud, and that almost makes it more fun to have two competing fans at the game, I think.
I don't disagree with that contention. But I think home court is home court.
You're right.
And, you know, you want most of those. And look, as time goes on, you're going to get that. The Lakers don't have the same sort of nucleus that they used to have. And
far from Showtime.
LeBron's 37 today, right? Isn't that what he is? 37 years of age. This portion of our show is brought to you by Edwin Watts, and my heart still is heavy over the loss of Jay Hasselman. It truly is. It has really affected me. But you know that Jay would say, look, he loved this place. And, you know, we're going to miss him. There is no doubt about it. But go and see this place that he made. He really did make Edwin Watts what it is. And they've got all the latest in golf, that is for sure. Every new trend, every new thing, every new product, whether it's Callaway, whether it's Titleist, whether it's TaylorMade, whether it's Ping, whatever it may be, they've got it. The greatest stuff, the newest stuff, always at Edwin Watts Golf. So go stop by, see the guys. You can check out, you can get fitted there. If you buy your clubs there, fitting is free. And that fitting can get expensive, let me tell you. I've done it with some experts, and they were good. No question about it. But this really saves you some money. Edwin Watts Golf. They've been serving everybody around here since 1968. The 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Only at Edwin Watts. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you next week.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Vince